So this is the grounded open dialogue model created by Microsoft, also known as Godel. It is a pre-trained language learning model. It's based on other pre-trained language learning models, like Pro AI was one of the things they listed. I think difference between this and other things is it's a grounded model, so it has environmental and chat context, as we can see down here. We take in the dialogue history environment, which is some external database of knowledge, which is usually like Wikipedia articles and Reddit conversations, and the world state. So things like where's are you in the world? Um, what are the restaurants around here? As we can see, we have a restaurant here. It generates a series of responses, so each will have some utility score that's judged by just asking people um, which response was useful, and that was used in the training. As you can see, the general goal of Total is to generate human responses based on context. So here we have an example of like asking for a Chinese restaurant, then ask for the area, and then we're like, oh, there's multiple restaurants. Would you like to book a table here at this restaurant? Here's the basics of how these kinds of things work. This is very similar to the transformer equation we learned in class, but there's a little bit of a difference here. You'll notice that we have a source and an environment now, as opposed to just taking out the probability of a certain outcome. So the probabilities, instead of just being the outcome, also take into account multiplying the probability of the source being there and its environment, though generally the environment is absent in a lot of this training. How do we train? Speaking of training, how did we train it? They trained it from web documents, public dialogue, and some grounded dialogue, what they call grounded dialogue. So web documents is just like anything on the internet. It could be some random blog, some text. They do cite, I think, 6 different databases that are used in a lot of different AI. Public dialogue, so like chats on Facebook chats, group chats, that kind of thing. And then what they call grounded, which is it's taking the context. And this was trained off a lot of Reddit conversations that are in some AI databases. And its final last third phase is based on some existing models that have it. Its use is for fine-tuning to specific tasks. So we have some large model that we use to do the basic pre-training. That's why it's called pre-trained. And then a user will take it and a much smaller deployed model and do specific training for that with a much smaller data set. So here's how it performed. They evaluated in 2 ways, human and automatic. Automatic was based on the BERT score, and we can see its BERT score on the right. BERT is basically just another AI that says how human a piece of text is. So this score means that Gödel was on average more human than the other models in this category. It also performed a lot more. They asked a bunch of humans how safe this felt, how human this piece of text felt, and it scored safer and more useful versus its competition. So what conclusions can we draw? Well, Gödel is a competitive model. It generally scores much higher in humanness, and its grounding techniques allow it to stay a lot more relevant than other language models. Overall, it's good at what it sets out to do. Very specific tasks, so you could use it for like a manager AI on maybe a website. So if someone needs something, it can direct them directly to that particular product. If you want to learn more, the whole project is open source and available on Microsoft's GitHub, github.com/Microsoft/Godel. Hope you learned something.